Stevenson program for having received the 5-star highest rating through the Quality First for our preschool. So I'm just going to have Mrs. Joni Duarte and staff come up. It's all her support staff from Stevenson Elementary. And Quality First does provide some ratings, and they got the highest rating. So I'm going to award them with the highest quality, far exceeds quality standards, to Stevenson Elementary School staff. And so,
it is a
congratulations.
huge team effort.
Yes, it is, and I see them in action, and you do all amazing work.
Thank you so much.
Not easy to get 5 stars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you want to take a picture of them, Mama?
Find a way to go.
Ms. Duarte, could we take a picture of you?
Yeah,
just right
thank
there?
you very much.
And your staff.
Thank you guys so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
You're
you,
very
Joni,
well
again.
done. Congratulations. Another announcement is that we want to remind our parents and students that this Wednesday is not an early release day because of parent conferences that will be held on Thursday. Elementary schools will be, and middle school will be from 1 to 7 on Thursday, while the high school 2 to 7 on Thursday, and Friday being the early release date. So parents, please do not go to the schools and pick up your children at 1 because they will not be out. We also have our pick game this Friday located in Bisbee, and the Powder Puff game is on Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So you can go support, and tomorrow is Wednesday, by the way. Keep thinking that's in 2 days, but tomorrow is Wednesday. So we want to encourage all of our parents to go visit classroom teachers and have a conversation about how your child is performing and next steps moving forward. Also a reminder to parents that have conversations with children. We've had some incidents where kids are bringing toy things that are inappropriately considered or can simulate even a weapon, a dangerous item that can be brought to school, causing what it does, it causes some instructional mishaps and just disrupting the educational process. And there are consequences for our children who are violating those school policies. So that's just a reminder to our parents. And that is all I have for today.
Okay, why don't you go on to the next
Okay.
item as well?
And our gem award for today goes out to Dara Preciado. She is here. Yes, she is here. So Ms. Preciado is a 4th grade IA. She's amazing with student management. She's very patient and always has a positive attitude. She's always, her students are always on the best behavior and care of Ms. Preciado, using time management skills. She goes above and beyond to volunteer at our school using her artistic talents to help decorate the MPR room, help design and make drawings for other bulletin boards. Ms. Preciado is a wonderful person for all of us at Joe Carlson Elementary. And she is a former Bulldog herself, and so I remember her when she was much younger. You're still young. And so. So Ms. Preciado, this is presented to you as the Superintendent's Gem Award for being an extraordinary employee and going the extra mile, so, and you get the Pupil Gem Award. So congratulations. Next, we have the staff that attended the ISTL Live 24 conference, which was an IT conference. We had several staff members that attended, from Mr. Durazo back there, some of our coaching staff and teachers, and they're here to present a little bit about what they learned at their technology conference. Is somebody recording, Mr. Durazo?
Yes,
Yes, so we're recording.
hopefully. AI is recording.
AI.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Marco Durazo, IT Director. And today we're here to talk about the ISTE conference we attended back in June. This ISTE stands for International Society for Technology in Education, so it blends in really well with what I do and what they do. So we had good representation at this conference. This is all about technology in education. That is the one and only topic. It's not like other conferences where they have stuff for maintenance and for transportation. This is all just technology in education. This was in Denver, Colorado, June 23rd through 26th, and there was a total of 5,367 participants. So it is a huge, huge conference. It was really nice to attend that, be able to attend that. People representing 84 countries, 2,335 presenters. So even though there was 10 of us, we still missed out on a lot of sessions because there was over 2,000 presenters. There was a little bit of everything for everyone. 419 vendors. The vendor floor was huge. It took a couple hours to walk through it and talk to the vendors and see what they had to offer. But it was a really nice experience. And myself, along with 9 other colleagues who are very passionate for what they do. Some of them, I was meeting them for the first time, and I was very excited about how passionate they are and all the things they want to bring back to their students. The main focus for this conference was AI. That was probably the one and only topic. All the sessions had something to do with AI. All the vendors had something to do with AI. And everything was just around that. The whole conversations were about AI in education. I will touch on a hot topic for this board, and I know for other school districts, cheating. I personally didn't see any vendors that were offering products to protect schools against cheating. Everything was promoting AI. And any company that is investing in that type of technology to detect on cheating or whatever, I think they'll soon go out of business because schools will have to embrace AI. There's really no way around it. This brings me back to the times when we were not allowed to use a calculator in school, and now you can't go to school without a calculator. Making graphics and all that stuff, you can't do without a calculator. So back in the day, they were prohibited in all schools, and now you have to bring your own calculator. So it's the same thing. Eventually, we're going to have to embrace this, and it's going to be a thing of education, educating our students on how to use it and how we push them to think at a higher level. If they want to use ChatGPT to write a document, that's fine. But then the questions will come, why do you think this is, or ask them, put them in the spot to see if they really agree with what they're presenting. So with that, I'll pass it on to my next colleague.
Hi, I'm Paola Rojo. I teach U.S. government at the Douglas High School. And I want to address a couple, again, we went to a lot of conferences. When it came to AI, I have to admit that before going to these conferences, I was kind of afraid of it. But then I realized that actually there are a lot of things and a lot of resources out there for teachers to make not just our lives easier, but also our teaching more effective. We can actually, and that's something that changed. I'm going to stop trying to make my students meet my expectations of how I can teach, and I'm going to try to meet their expectations on what they need and how they learn. Right now they learn with social media, with videos, with other things, so there are new resources. So basically I broke down what I learned in 2 things: classroom content and creating engagement. With classroom content, okay, there you go. There are some ways to do lesson planning with AI. There are certain websites that are developed for teachers, for example, Magic Schools and School AI. Right now I'm using Magic Schools. Both of them are really good. Magic Schools has a lot of ways, not just for lesson planning, but if you want to write a syllabus. We can, for lesson planning, if I have to add the standards for Arizona, I can add so many things to make my lesson planning more effective, because I usually plan with the skills or the tools that I know, but that AI is giving me options, new options of how can I do it. I learned how to grade with AI, and it's not that AI is going to do the job for me, but it's going to review my students' work, and it's going to give me options of how I can give them feedback or where they can improve. Sometimes when I'm reading an essay that it's 5 pages and I have to grade 150 students, at some point I get tired and it's not that effective. But with that AI, it's telling me this content, it was done with an AI, for example, or these other paragraph could be is not meeting the rubric that you created, which the same rubric I can create it with an AI with Magic Schools too. I learned about new content. For example, there are free libraries that my students can use. I wrote about Epic. Esri it's a mapping tool. I use that because I teach history, and I went straight to those classes. Other tools, other new things that are coming, like with Kahoot. Now it has AI. Canva has AI. Now Canva does your presentations, and I'm going to show you how I'm using it right now. This is Magic Schools, the tool that I told you about. It can make assessments, lesson plans, the plan a whole unit for me. Not only that, but with Magic Schools, again, this is the plus version because I'm paying it. But if you don't pay, you don't get all those resources. It can create a song for you. I write, okay, we're learning legislative branch. Exactly this part of the legislative branch, please create a song for me about whatever topic I want to teach. And I've been using it. I've been recommending it to other teachers, and I've gotten pretty good feedback. So that's making my life easier, and it's pretty good. Another thing that I learned is how to create augmented reality with my web AR, and I brought an example. I've been teaching this to other people because I think it's pretty cool. We can create with augmented reality with just a phone a lesson that's more engaging, because with the same phone that my students already have in their hands, when they go home, they can actually see 3D objects at their homes. I went to a couple of museums this summer, and I scanned objects in 3D and then showed to my students. They were amazed, and they were so engaged, more engaged than a YouTube video. If you scan that QR code, that's another way to teach. If you scan that QR code, it's going to take you to some website that I created for my class. In that website, if you click to my name, you can send an email directly to me. You can go to my Google Classrooms. You can see all of my slides. You can get suggested resources. For example, at the National Constitution Center, the Bill of Rights Institute, and a couple of institutes that I use, everything in one website that I created for my students. My students have been loving it. Also, that QR code is now in my classroom. Anyone that comes into my classroom can see what I'm teaching, who I am, what resources my students are using. A parent can come and see. Any staff that wants to come into my classroom and observe my class, they can just scan it and see exactly what I'm teaching. I included in my own website a calendar that I'm gonna be changing every month, so that my students know exactly what's happening that month. They can check in at home what's happening in 2 weeks from now. And if they're going to be absent for 2 weeks, they can actually see the assignments, go to the slides, everything with my own website. Those are resources that I learned in this conference, and I think it's been making my students more engaged. I've been embracing AI, I've been embracing technology, and I think it's pretty cool because it's making, I see an impact in my students. And an impact in how I see AIs and technology is not all like bad. Thank you.
Well, before,
That we're very passionate.
go ahead. Before you're finished with your segment, right?
Yes.
Mr. Smith, do you have any questions you want to ask her?
Yeah.
No.
Ms. Salgel?
No, I really like that you can use AI to make, mnemonic devices and music devices that will enhance memory and learning. I
And
love
pictures too.
that. Love it. And those
Yeah.
3D, I think, sounds fascinating.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Yeah. And
Mr. Lindemann?
I just had one quick question. When you're using this for, say, your lesson planning, are you able to somehow change something for,
Yes.
like, maybe a dyslexic student or?
It comes with the option, actually. It also comes with the option of if I have IEPs or 504s that I need to meet, I can just put in the requirements and it will give me options of assignments. It also gives me AI-resistant options, because if I want to create an assignment, and even though I'm using AI and it's telling me what my students could do to meet those standards, it also comes with the option of AI-resistant assignments. So it gives me creative assignments that are not easy for AIs to read, and it comes with the option for to meet the different needs of my students. Yeah, it's
A brave new world.
yes,
It is,
yes.
meeting those, I mean, it'll be so much easier for our teachers.
And there are free versions. There are also, for example, Magic Schools. I pay a subscription that it's like $15 a month. As a district, we can buy subscriptions because they have the option. I've been using it myself. At first, I used a free trial. I used 3 free trials of 3 different AIs. This was my favorite, and that's why I'm stuck to this one. But there are free versions too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr.
welcome.
Ramos?
Yes, I'm very impressed with your enthusiasm, and I'm glad that you were able to grasp so much knowledge there that will help you to teach our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you have second thoughts, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, and my question actually is probably more for the superintendent on this. Obviously, they have, like I said, do have free versions, but I would guess, as with most programs, the better versions, the ones that have all the utilities, are paid for versions. Is there anything in the works to try and determine which AI programs would best work for the teachers, and maybe have the district start purchasing the licenses they need to?
Yes, so we've had conversations about, you saw a former presentation from the other group of teachers that went to Leading Change, right? And a lot of the conversations were there on AI. So I was waiting for this presentation to take place because there may be different things that you guys learned that wasn't part of Leading Change. And we will be looking at what options we have as a district, because a lot of our teachers do pay for themselves. You know, teachers have always paid themselves for different things. Before we used to, you know, buy supplies at teaching stores. Now we don't have to go to a teaching store. We pay subscriptions to these types. So yes, we are wanted for this presentation to be over and done with, and with Mr. Marcos' recommendation, Mr. Durazo's recommendation, and the teams looking at which sites we'd be best in investing as a district for teachers.
Can I add one more thing?
Certainly.
In this conference, I met new people, and this is something that I've talked to Mrs. Rodriguez about. I was talking to these principal that now had another position, and she was showing me how in California, in their school, they had VR headsets. And they use the VR headsets in so many ways. For example, in my class, I could use it in history. They have the Martin Luther King speech in a 360 experience. And I was seeing some videos about it. And honestly, there was people crying because it's basically an immersive experience where now my students could go to museums. Some of our students won't go to the Louvre Museum ever, or won't get out of Douglas ever, but through a VR headset, they were actually traveling places and going to museums. And there was like this whole galaxy and things that were so incredible. Like, I don't think I'm old, but like back in my day, I couldn't even imagine in having those experiences. And it's something that I've talked to Mrs. Rodriguez about. It's crazy how education can go to a new level, and we can take advantage of all these resources.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any members of the board? Go ahead if you're next.
Hi, I'm Giselle Romero. I'm a math teacher and the department chair for math at the high school. Where am I pointing to? Oh, so of course, mine is how AI is revolutionizing math education. So the main what I was afraid of going into this, again, like my colleagues, is how much it can involve cheating. And in math, it can be just a number, as where in English they can plagiarize an essay. It can be easier to point out. But in math, if they give me a number, like it's either right or wrong. Like, where do I go? but I learned that it can be a tool for me as well as for my students. Most AI that is out there, I mean, it's been out there for a while. Like, I mean, we use Siri, we use, all that is AI, but the most famous one right now is PhotoMath, where our students snap a picture and we're like, where did it, like, they give us the answer. But they're not using it for that purpose. So as I was going into this, there's a lot of other options that my students can have, and it is more of using it as a tutor instead of a cheating device. So in some ways they can ask, it depends on how they ask the question, so they can put in an equation or something like that to solve, and it can give them a step-by-step, but they're required to, as they go through the process in most of these AI devices or AI apps, it asks them questions like, where would you go from here? Like where, like not direct, it doesn't take them directly to the answer, it asks them, where would you go from here? And it asks them for for more information as to how they would solve. So it doesn't necessarily just give them the answer right away. So that was a very good tool that we use, and I know that Khan Academy has been out for a while, so now Khan Academy has an AI that is a tutor. So I can say, you know, I can assign an assignment to my students on Khan Academy, and they can go through different processes for their math, and they can go and ask AI, like, what is the next step? Or this is what I'm doing, what can I do next? Or AI would tell them, like, if they're solving, I don't know, square roots and it needs 2 solutions, yes, this is right, but you still need another one. So things like that. There's Equatio that we used it during the pandemic, but it wasn't as, I mean, we used it as a means of uploading the equation as a picture into our Google Forms to test our students. Now it can create assessments for us. So, Marco, can we get it back? Miss Samaniego, can we get it back? Anybody, everybody, can we get it back? So it can create assessments for us, and it tells us, like, and you can put it, like, you know, you can write down, can you create an 5-question assessment or a 5-question quiz that can have radical expressions or solving this with this math standard, and it will create it for you. You can still go in and edit whatever you need to go in and meet the needs of your students, but it's still there. And same as Magic School, she already discussed it a lot, so I'm not gonna go in depth a lot more, but it does have a lot of planning behind it as well. Apple Education has a lot of apps. Most of my students have iPhones, so if I tell them to go in and type in graph on their apps, it's already preloaded into their phone. So graphing calculators are already preloaded into like tablets, into iPads and phones. So they don't even have to go in and download an app. Like they can just go in and type in graph, and they can pull up their graphing calculator, and it has 3D objects. So you can even scan and measure the dimensions of I don't know, a pizza box or whatever they're trying to do. Again, Kahoot is one of the ones that we've been looking at as well. It can create assignments for us. It can create different things for us. And most of these, well, the majority of these apps link to our Google Classroom. So if I assign something on Khan Academy, I can directly link to my Google Classroom, and my students already have access to it. They don't have to go in and create their accounts. They don't have to go in and create anything else. It's one platform that links it directly. Same with the other EduAid, it's the same thing, and you can type in to create things for you. It also is a tutor for your student, the same as Khan Academy and the others. So they're more, like I said, there's more going into than just giving the answer. It's required them to think a little bit more, not just using it as a cheating app. One thing that one of the sessions that I attended was 4 Shifts Protocol, and it centers on student learnings and changing the environment in which our students are. So we don't want our students to be sitting there on their phone, not paying attention to us or anything like that, but technology can engage them more, and the 4 shifts basically involves the technology and having them able to bring in the community. So like if there's something going on in the community and they want to analyze it, how can they become a part of that and things like that. So it would just be a matter of getting involved and creating assignments that are tailored to what they want to learn and their basically their interests. So if we're trying to figure out math and we're trying to incorporate, like, I know a lot of my students are basketball players, like how would we incorporate that into our math? And technology just fuses in all of that. So it gives us more an open, basically it opens the world for us. And I learned that our BenQs are not just a very expensive projector or whiteboard. So I know a lot of us use it as just a projector or just as a whiteboard. So I know I've been in contact with Marco and Peter at the high school, and they've been downloading apps into my BenQ so that I can play around with them. And I was actually able to download all my textbook into there, and now I can project my textbook. I can play the videos that come with my textbook as well, and things like that. I also got a personalized lesson from Savas, and that was very educational as I hadn't used Savas before. So, and then PowerSchool also has AI now. So you can even like ask PowerSchool, can you give me a report of this and this and this? And PowerSchool, and AI, it's called, was it PowerBuddy? PowerBuddy does it for you. So that was it for me.
Mr. Smith, any questions of this young lady?
No, sir.
Ms. Salchow?
No.
Mr. Lindeman?
I wish that was there when I was in math, but no. No. But anyway, I was just wondering, again, when you're doing the practical applications, do your basketball players want to figure out what the perfect arc is for a three-pointer?
Most of the time they ask us like, well, why are we learning this? And then we bring in it's the most common math question. Well, why do we have to learn this? And we bring it in. We do the concept first, and then we bring in the application. So most of it is tailored to what they like. And again, AI can create different like word problems for us that they can solve, and it just depends on how you type it in and what you ask it.
Thank you.
Mr. Ramos?
So you're very pleased with this new technology?
Yes, it's a resource that we have to. I mean, it's inevitable, so we're going to have to embrace it. And like I said, as much as our students are using it, some of our students are using it the wrong way. Most of our students are using it as a tutor device or as a tutor app.
You made reference to the phone. Is there ever any occasion in your class that a phone would be acceptable to use for any part of your instruction?
Well, there's some questions.
In math specifically?
Like I said, a lot of us, I mean, we do have graphing calculators in our classes, in some of our classrooms, the ones that need it. But for the graphing part of it, a lot of our students do use graphing calculators. We don't really encourage the use of their phone throughout the entire, unless it's necessary. But a lot of them don't have. And again, it's a student choice, don't have access to a computer because they haven't come to the district to grab themselves one. So it's very easy for them to pull out their phone and have their assignment. But their phone, I mean, at this point, we can use it for their learning if they use it correctly.
I noticed you were shaking your head yes as well. Just briefly, do they use it in your classroom as well?
Yes. Again, I created a website with all my slides are there, all my suggested resources. And for example, there are games that we can do with Kahoot AI. Kahoot can create a game. I have Jeopardy. I have games are very engaging. I offer bellword passes, and I have these reward system for secret students, and I do 100 million things for them to get engaged. And I let them use their phones sometimes for that, also for mapping, because it's easy for me with their app. I see their answers. I display the questions. They answer in 4 for colors, and yes, I do use it. And honestly, I find it as a good tool because when my first year teaching, this is my third one, my first year teaching, I was finding cell phones. And when I started including them, I realized that they stopped using them for other things because they were actually engaged in the lesson with the game. They were engaged with the museums. There's escape rooms that I do, and they can use the apps for that in their phones, and they're pretty cool.
Okay, thank you. Any follow-up, Mr. Smith?
No.
Ms. Alchow?
No.
Mr. Lindeman?
They tried to teach me the slide rule in the 70s. I don't know if you even know what that is.
They don't know what a slide rule
But
is.
that didn't work.
A
The
slide rule.
nightmare of the slide rule.
It didn't work. Okay,
And
thank
a
you.
small comment on their phones, like when they're allowed to use it in the math class, even though they can use it for some things, they're still required to show their work. They're not just doing it on their phone and that's it. They still have to do the procedures and everything on paper and turn that in.
Mr. Ramos?
So that when they're using their cell phone, and they say they have to just show their work. So in reality, they are engaging
They're
what's
using
on
their
the
technology,
phone
yes.
and what they're putting on a paper, so they're becoming knowledgeable of what's going on.
Yes.
Okay, Marco, the next one. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Ana Pacheco. I'm chemistry teacher in DHS, and I went with them to Denver, Colorado. I don't talk as much as them, so mine is gonna be super short. So as a new teacher, this is my second year, I was having trouble with lesson planning, like where do I start off? And I went into a conference where I learned the design process, where it's 5 main things, which is ask, imagine, plan, create, and improve. Ask. Ask students, what do you want to learn? What are you curious about? And me, just like Paola said, meet their expectations, not my expectations. Imagine. Let's imagine myself taking my own class. So me and my class, how would I like my class to be? Then plan. Do plan A, plan B, plan C. What do I like the most and which one works the best for me? Then create, which is try it out. Let's try it out by myself, presenting it to a teammate or someone else. Then the one that works the most, improve it. Where do I think I need, I don't know, maybe more creativity or maybe more focus on, and improve it, and that's how I can get my almost perfect lesson plan. Then all my lesson plans should have the SEL, which is the social and emotional learning, and also the employability skills, which are the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. Communication, we need to teach students to be adults in this super difficult world. So communication, sharing thoughts, questions, ideas, and solutions. Collaboration, working together to reach a goal, putting talent, expertise, and smarts to work. Critical thinking, looking at problems in a new way and linking learning across subjects and disciplines. And lastly, obviously, creativity, which is trying new approaches to get things done equally with innovation and invention. Now, I also went into a conference where it was led only by women, because we are in the era of women, and the conference was called Leadership. Some years ago, they used to tell us, you can do everything, but that's not right, because we were trying to actually do everything. And yes, we can, but you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So let's try to do whatever it's in our power and embrace that, which in this case is trying to be better at teaching and improving in AI. Now, we come up with a lot of problems, but if we see our problems as opportunities, we will have not any more problems. Now, I am specifically using the Merge AI technology, which is this little cube, which I will give you one. Pass it around if you want to. So, in my classroom, which is chemistry, we have to have like a lot of imagination. Instead of doing that, we can have 3D models in their phones. So instead of finding phones, I tell students to download the Merge app, which I will show you right now. Okay. And when they download this app, we can go into a lot of different experiences. For example, here I think you might not see, but we have the Galactic Explorer, where we can travel to space and see all the planetary model. We can also go inside their body and learn about anatomy. We can go into the inside of Earth, into the nucleus. We can go into a drop of water. So instead of asking students to just imagine, we can tell them to scan this Merge cube, which has a code, which their phones scan it, and then they can go inside that drop of water and see a lot of information that it's preloaded. Also, this app has preloaded assignments where I just grab, okay, for example, this is an example. Diamonds are forever. It tells me the grade, which is from 9 to 12, and the essential questions. I put this on my board, students scan the QR code that is right there, and they go in something just like it. That's a screenshot of my phone where I was answering an assignment using my phone, and I was answering questions about an atom, adding and subtracting protons, electrons, and it's virtual and in time. So when they get points or play the game, I can grade all their answers by them using their phone. And just like Paola said, I've seen that instead of they using their phone for, I don't know, TikTok or social media, now they are using it to be in the classroom, and they are actually like learning things. And I will also show you.
That's the Merge cube, and this is like we can add any 3D objects, and they can see it around like this. And it's just with the phone. Right? Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to see?
Yes, over here.
We should more details, right? So this is the world. There are so many things, like any 3D object that we want, we can add it. So the real cube costs $30. I contacted the company and they sent me the template. So we printed this at the print shop, fold them, did the cube, and now any object that we want, we can do it 3D. For example, something from a museum, and my students can see it in their phone, and they can zoom in, zoom out, they can turn it around, they can do anything they want with it, just with the apps. Yeah.
That is cool.
So,
I heard what you were telling.
Okay.
Go ahead if you want to
okay,
say something.
so, we can add any object that we want, literally any. What I do is I've done my own 3D scanning, or I can download any that I want. And basically my students can see, well, whatever we want to add.
I was thinking the same.
This cube, the real cube costs $30 to Target, but we printed the template.
You printed them?
Yeah, I emailed the company because I took the class with them and they sent me the template. So we sent them to the print shop, and my students, I have student aides, they did the kids.
And you can do that as long as you want to.
Yes.
You know, I've no copyright problem.
No copyright. It was sent to me by them,
Oh,
by the
okay, got
company.
it.
The company sent it to me.
Very good. Very interesting.
Imagine if you would have had that when you were teaching.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yes, yeah.
Lessons in
So yes, all the AI that my colleagues are using, it's really fun, really entertaining, and I think that instead of fighting phones, we can encourage students to use them in a correct way. And that would be it.
Thank you very much.
We have one more.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Paulina Flores. I'm an English teacher at the Douglas High School. Okay. Mine's a little bit short. I just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the panel discussions, the conferences, and the workshops that we actually went to. So there was a floor where there was all the vendors, and we could go in and we could learn about a lot of different things. And we did, but it also took a long time because there were so many. Merge Cube was one of them. There were a lot of AI as well in there. But there were also so many conferences, so many workshops that we could go into, and they were all with a spin on AI, right? So we had sound pedagogy, which is, it's teaching you a safe way where you can use AI with your students. And within the workshop, it was telling us about all of the simple things that you could do to have them add AI into the classroom without using it for cheating, how we've been seeing. There was also another one, AI and cheating. That one was very interesting, where it's letting you know that you could use AI. However, we're not trying to use AI. For example, I'm an English teacher, and a very easy way that students use AI is just to do essays, right? We ask for an essay, they ask for an essay from an AI, and then it gives it to them, right? But we can't fight that. Even when we look for AI that will help us or tell us that they're cheating, it's really difficult to find out whenever they are cheating. So what they told us in this class, or this workshop, was to find a way to make the assignment or the assessment that you're looking for a little bit different, right? You're trying to make a spin on it, where you're not asking maybe for an essay, you're asking for how would you, for example, because this is all for AI, how would you ask an AI machine to make an essay for this specific thing? Because that's a big thing with AI, right? It'll give you everything you ask for it, but the right thing is the right way of how you're going to ask AI for the thing. So we can start challenging them in different ways, and that was one of the workshops that we had as well. STEAM up your curriculum. I didn't know what STEAM was. I now know. It was very interesting. Utilizing and creating graphic novels across the curriculum. This one was just about graphic novels. I tried to go into as many that were about English that I could, or literature. That one, okay. A very interesting thing about all the workshops and all the panels was that everything had AI, which was the point of it, but looking at all of the different things, at all of the different uses that you can have with it is very, very incredible. For example, weaving cultural threads. So that one was about adding AI for students who didn't know the language, but they still had to use the same textbooks as the other students. You could just take a picture of the text and it'll translate the text for them. It'll even read it out loud for them. It'll even sometimes, for specific text when it's already set up, it'll show them like a show animated film of whatever is on each of the pages. And for us, I think in English that sometimes is something that we really do need. Some of the highlights that I wanted to just say that I saw during the panel discussions, where instead of asking students what they want to be, ask what problem they want to solve. Another one was that the structure for 1-minute documentaries, this one was also for AI, and it was how you could ask students to learn to give instructions by just having them do a documentary before each class, and they all have to work together. That one was really interesting too. And then the ingredients for innovation, which are just confidence, freedom, and unique passions. And I think that that last one is the biggest one, right? I think we all have unique passions as teachers. We are all from different classes, different groups, different schools. And I think all of us have that unique passion for every single different class. And that's it.
All of you obviously put in a lot of time on this excellent preparation in this excellent presentation you made here today. And it's gratifying to know that we have you people, you're kind of ilk in the classrooms, people that are up to date, as Mr. Ramos mentioned earlier. But one of the things that comes to my mind immediately, and then briefly, and then I'll let the rest of the board members, how did the students respond to all of this? We're hearing from you in the presentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the classroom, what's the reaction from the students?
Reactions that I have.
Any one of you, whoever you designate.
Okay, well, reactions that I have gotten from my students whenever I try to apply something or I show them something different is just honestly at the end of the day, they're just like, Miss, I like this class. And that's really exciting. For us as teachers, I think that's what you're looking for every single class, right? Where they are engaged, how everybody else was saying, they really do become more engaged. Yes, they are using their phones sometimes. Yes, we are using a lot of technologies, but that's the point, right? That's what they have. That's the new thing coming in. And so I do believe that when we use these technologies, they do become more like attentive during class.
Do you want to add something?
Yes. When the second day of school, I did an activity and I showed them the merge cube. And I told them, okay, download this app. We're gonna do this and that, and they were going crazy. They didn't know that I knew that much, and I didn't know that much. And they were like, Miss, how can you do this? Then I showed them a newspaper that I had and how to use augmented reality. And then I got 3D figures that, again, I told them, hey, I went to these museums and I learned about in the National Constitution Center about this. And I told them, use your phones and find the hidden artifacts that I have in my classroom. What do you mean hidden artifacts? And you can only see them through an app because they're in 3D. And my students were going crazy about it. First of all, because they realized that I'm ahead in technology. They usually think that they are ahead in technology. And I said, guys, if you're using AIs to do my assignments, I will know. Then with Canva, I told them, okay, you're going to do a graphic design. You can use Canva. And please use the AI tool that comes with Canva, Magic Write. They were, Miss, you're letting us use AI. And I was taught how to use it, so I know that they're actually learning with it. And I said, yeah, you can use AI, but make sure it's not ChatGPT. You can only use Canvas AI because that tool is specific for education. I was taught how to use it. And my students did amazing assignments. They were very engaged. They were learning. They were reading. It was a timeline about the creation, how we ended up with the Constitution that we have today. And I think comparing to my previous year, this is way better. How I organized my slides for them, they're prettier, way prettier, because now I'm using Slides Go and Canva Go. And I think they're more engaged, and how they have access to these resources, and I'm letting them know, you can use this, or I'm using AI, it's okay, just use it with responsibility. I think I've had a really positive reaction from my students.
I think as a teacher, there's always the apprehension and the fear that the students may know more than they do at that particular time.
Yeah.
Do you get that feeling with this, that as you're making the presentation, that
Yes.
they're way ahead of you?
No, not now. Especially, they were doing presentations this week, and I said, guys, have you seen my slides this school year? Yeah, Miss, they're awesome. Okay, I expect nothing less. Because when you go to college, you gotta do amazing presentations. You gotta do this. And I work with seniors, specifically with seniors. And I've been challenging myself because it's been taking me a lot of hours on my Saturdays and my Sundays to do this. But I've been able to challenge my students to grow in certain areas, and we're exploring together this new world with AIs and this new world with technology. But I know that my students are not going to go to college without knowing how to use this. My students are not going to be out there just using ChatGPT, because I'm taking the time, and all of us are taking the time of teaching them how to use this with responsibility. And since we're using them ourselves, I think at some point we're right there. Like, I know we're not using technology. There are so many things that we can do, right? And more things that will come out. But if we keep updating ourselves, I think we can keep our students engaged and embrace this. We can fight it.
You're right about that enthusiasm. In summary, Mr. Smith, any generic questions you want to ask any of them, or any comments?
No, I do love the enthusiasm that I've seen here, and I want to say it's commendable because of the time and effort guys have put into doing that. If it gets the students more engaged, they're going to learn more, and there's all positive sides to that. So I appreciate what you've done here tonight.
Ms. Salchow.
I love it. And to piggyback on what he said, you know, it keeps them more engaged, but and more than just keeping them engaged, it makes them a part of the creativity in the classroom. It's ownership involved. I think that's incredibly important. I don't think we should be afraid of this. Like you said, we need to use it for what we should. Good job. Oh, and will you guys be going, or will you be giving workshops within the district on how to use this and how to
We can.
carry it?
Sign me up for that.
Sorry, the curriculum comes out of me, okay?
No, yeah. I went to law school, okay? I did a master's in social sciences. So when it came to lesson planning, I was learning the hard way.
Right.
Then with this, I'm like, this would have made my first year way easier.
I'm sure, I'm sure.
Yes. So yeah, we could definitely do that.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Lindeman.
Yeah, thank you. That's a wonderful presentation, and you're right. Technology, it's been here. We have to learn how to use it responsibly, and there's just no going back. From, you know, your car mechanic uses technology, your teledoctor uses that. It's here. We have to prepare our youth to just engage. So, thank you.
Mr. Ormos?
Yes, I just want to reiterate that your love that you have and the devotion that you all have for your students to learn and to have the progress that they're gonna make is just phenomenal. Thank you.
Mr. Durazo, do you have anything you want to recap or finish up with, or does anybody want to add anything before we?
Absolutely,
move
and
on?
thank you for the opportunity. I don't want to end the presentation without thanking the board for making this possible. Ms. Amaniego, Mr. Soto, and the business office, and especially Ms. Herrera and Mrs. Maggie Moreno, because it takes a lot of work to make this happen. To have 10 people schedule their flights, their hotels, their transportation, everything went really smooth. And I know it's a lot of work, so I want to thank everyone who was involved for making this possible. And a couple of fun facts. I think you can tell that the district got its bang for its buck, because everyone was really engaged. They got to be students at this conference, and they learned a lot, and they're willing to share it. So I think that's the whole purpose of this. And also, what you saw here with her going around showing that cube, she did that at the airport. We had to wait for about an hour for a flight, and everyone there, and this is the Denver airport is huge. Everyone in the airport learned, and everyone on our plane learned about AI and the little cube. It was fun to watch. Thank you.
At the administration, you wanted to add anything?
Yes, you know, I'm impressed. I hadn't heard in detail all the learning that took place, so I was very excited for this presentation. I know it was longboard, but I think it was well worth it. And on my notes, it's now sharing the wealth of knowledge. And so for us to be able to have an in-service day where the 10 people plus the leading change staff that also, we had heard from some administrators, and I know Mrs. Rodriguez was like, wow, I can do this and I can do that. And so yes, Mrs. Herrera will be planning some in-service, because I think they have a lot to share for other teachers to learn about this wonderful new way of teaching. So.
Anybody else, members of the administration? Again, thanks, Marco, and thank all of you for sharing all that information with us. Thank you. Mr. Duarte.
Thank you, Mr. Bray.
What, do you mind stepping in for the record? That way we get it recorded.
All right, thank you again. I was so excited, I got a Mrs. Rojo's. I scanned it there and stuff. It's awesome. These are not just phones, these are computers that our kids using. But we're forgetting the third part. We got the students, the teachers, the parents. We gotta bring them in, give them a little bit of insight, so they know what their kids are getting into, especially, you know, the younger ones that are going to be going off to college and everything. So thank you for bringing this to us, and hopefully we also do some in-services for our parents. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. And the only apprehension I have is that if the administration is going to come back talking about cell phones, is it you inadvertently made a case for them? Thank you. Thanks, Marco.
Thank you, everyone. Great job.
We should establish the Paola's AI Institute now.
Governing board members, Mr. Smith.
I have nothing.
No report. Mrs. Selchow?
Nothing.
Mr. Lindeman.
I just wanted to mention that Mr. Joe Rosadillo did pass away this summer too, and he was a longtime employee and bus driver for me.
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Nothing, not until next month.
Moving into item 2, school activity report. Nicole?
Okay. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and members of the public. The activity report at DHS and DUSD schools for September is as follows. At all schools, parent-teacher conferences will take place on September 5th from 1 to 7 p.m. At Douglas High School on September 4th, the Lady Bulldogs will face the Bisbee Pumas in a Powder Puff flag football match at 5 p.m. Following, the Pig Pep Rally will take place Thursday 4th at 6:30 p.m. Come join us. It's open to the community. On Friday, September 6th, the 154th annual Pig football game will take place in Bisbee at 7 p.m. On September 12th, Drama Club will be sponsoring movie night featuring Inside Out at 6:30 p.m. From September 23rd to 27th, Homecoming Week will be taking place. On September 27th, the homecoming game will take place Bulldogs versus Empire at 7 p.m. And on September 30th, PTSO will be holding a meeting. At Riverine Middle School's PTSO meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 10th at 5 p.m., ELL Parent Night on Tuesday, September 24th at 5 p.m., and congratulations to our 2024-2025 Student Council officers, President Dylan Valenzuela, Vice President Naideline Pedrego, Secretary Sherlyn Gonzalez, and Treasurer Jaylene Tapia. At Paul Huber Middle School, ELL Parent Night on Tuesday, September 10th from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Puerto Rico will be presenting at Energize Douglas September 13th, and congratulations to our Student Council officers, President Anika Davila, Vice President Camila Ruiz, Secretary Anisette Zamora, and Treasurer Viviana Grijalva. At Clausen, School Picture Day will be held on Thursday, September 12th. Huber Folclorico will be performing for our Panthers on September 17th. Congratulations to our newly elected Student Council officers, President Rocio Alvarado, Vice President Jordan Acosta, Secretary Leilani Rees, Treasurer Fabian Valenzuela, Historian Luis Acosta. At Stevenson, School Picture Day will be held September 10th and 11th. Congratulations to our newly elected Student Council officers, President Sadiq Garcia, Vice President Sofia Lopez, Secretary Ana Cruz, Treasurer Jesus Alex Sergi. At Joel Carlson, pictures will take place on September 26th and 27th. Congratulations to our new Student Council officers, President Jaciel Reynoso, Vice President Aubrey Garcia, Secretary Noah Nelson, Treasurer Jocelyn Rios, and Historian Maria Jose Luis. The 21st Century After School Program will begin on Monday, September 9th at Joel Carlson. At Sarah Marley, School Picture Day will be held on September 6th. At Ferris, School Picture Day will be held Friday, September 13th. Congratulations to our new Student Council officers, President Ruby de la Vega, Vice President Maite Guzman, Secretary Mireille Grijalva, Treasurer Eduardo Ochoa, and Historian Jesus Elias. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Soto, budget report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, everybody, board members, Ms. Maniego. You have the report for the month of August for the various funds for the district. As you can see, there's still some remaining percentages left in the budget that haven't been encumbered. Remember that it's technically the first month of school, so we'll be looking at a more encumbrance next month. What else? You have the balances for the auxiliary funds and the student activities also. There wasn't a lot of travel this month either, because like I said, it's the beginning of the school. So we're gonna be seeing more travel in the coming months. Any specific questions out of this report?
Members of the board, when we had that work study session last week, there were a lot of questions regarding the student activity in the auxiliary fund. Does anybody have any follow-up questions regarding that? Because now would be the time to do that.
No.
Regarding any of the expenditures or revenues from those funds? Anybody? Where does it, quickly, where does the district stand on the approval of the grant or the school facility board on the entrance to the gym at our BMS?
The architect in charge of the assessment for that accessibility for ADA at the Riverine Gymnasium is going to be here next week on Tuesday, and he's bringing the potential person that is going to give the recommendation of what's the best way to go. Once we do the assessment, then we bring back that recommendation to the school facilities board for approval. So we're getting closer and closer. Hopefully, this next step is just faster. Hopefully, the first step is getting the approval from the school facilities board in terms of assessment. So again, next week the architect will be here to make that assessment.
If you recall, that was prompted by the complaint and the concern that was issued, it's been almost a year now, regarding the entrance for handicap at that school. All right, so then one last, what progress are you making on the information required for the bond?
I'm in talks with the company, Stifel, which is in charge of the bonds. Actually, tomorrow, I need to call them. We have a conference, a quick conference. We keep in touch regularly in terms of what we need to do. We know that we're, long time ahead to present this, but we're hoping to do it as soon as we can. But there's a lot of information that we need to gather. One of the main things is, of course, we have that bond still pending, that we have a couple more years to go to pay it off. But they're giving us really good insight in terms of what to do if we in fact go for another bond. What will be the capacity? That's what they call it in terms of how much money we can go for. So again, I'll keep you updated. That's tomorrow. I'll talk to them again about it.
Okay, as long as you're actively.
Yep.
Mrs. Cox, Human Resources. Hey, I'm sorry, members of the board, do you have any more questions on the budget?
I just
Mr.
had
Lehman?
one. May I ask the status of the sale of the Chiricahua building?
Good question.
Yes, we are currently, we've been in contact with Chiricahua. They are looking on their end for loan funding from the information that I've gathered. Mr. Soto and I are having a conference call with our attorney today because of a question that was brought forth, whether we will be submitting a purchase contract for Chiricahua in order for the sale. So remember that we have 90 days from the time that we get official notification from the county that, the sale passed, which we already know, but official notification hasn't been, given to us yet. So everything is progressing. I will be updating the board, probably have more information on the October meeting, but we are on the right path to closing that deal.
Yeah, you said something that caught my attention, talked about loan funding. We had discussed thoroughly at one point that the board expressed that there was a concern about their solvency.
Mhm.
And does this have anything to do with that?
No, not according to the information I've gathered from their CEO, that everything is in good standing. They're trying, they're doing whatever they need to do to fund the purchase.
Any other questions regarding any of that? Mrs. Cox?
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. Boring.
I
Mr.
did
Business
have,
question.
I wanted a little bit of clarification on the existing bond that we have right now. You said a couple of years, or is it 2, or? I understood it was like 5 more.
We're 2004, it's 2029, we have 5 more to go.
5 more years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
Mrs. Cox?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. So our enrollment. So last year I spoke about ADM and the difference between ADM and total enrollment. And so our ADM for the month of August is at 3,385. We had a total of 67 enrollments in the month of August. Last month I had reported we had 76. Withdrawals for the month of August, we had 34. Last month I reported we had 44. So our total enrollment right now for the district is 3,650. Any questions on enrollment?
Any questions regarding enrollment?
Do the withdrawals include no-shows?
Yes, so the breakdown, we had 5 students who went to another school here in town, 1 to Loretto, 3 to Cass, 1 to Liberty. We had 5 students they moved out of town, 2 students who were a no-show, 3 students who went to online school, 4 were other concerns, so they didn't really specify what those concerns were.
How many did you have go to the charter?
To the charter, we had 5, a total of 5.
Well, you know, they can buy dune buggies and kayaks with the money
They
now.
sure can.
At those charter schools. So no wonder that they're gravitating to that. Do you have anything else?
Yes,
Ms.?
so we had 2 students who met the graduation requirements, and we had 12 students who were 10-day drops for unexcused absences.
Okay, members of the board, any further questions regarding that? All right, thank all of you for those reports. Item E, public comments. We have one call to the public from Dr. Christine Gomez.
Good evening. I'm here representing Rotary again. We will be making a donation of $1,220 for dictionaries again this year, with your approval. And we're more excited. We're going to do our Young Eagles fly-in again. It'll be the first one since COVID. So when we did it really well, I really want these principals to know, we flew over 100 kids for free for a 15-minute flight out there at the Douglas Municipal Airport. And a lot of these children have never been on planes. And even if they have, they're small aircraft. So the Young Eagles have even turned on an astronaut. So I know that there's quite a few Douglas children that did go into the military and did go and pursue some more education doing, out there at Cochise College for the pilot program. So this is something that's doable for this district. They can get the education here, but a free flight out there for 15 minutes. It starts October 12th. And it'll be at 7 a.m. because it's less turbulent for these in this small aircraft, weather permitting. And October is a great month to fly. So we have we don't have pancake breakfast. We're going to do a burrito breakfast. But to see these kids, they're afraid, and then to see them jump off these planes, just go out and watch. It's an incredible sight to see if you haven't seen it. Some of you may have had your children do it. But we need your help to disseminate this information because you know how hard it is in Douglas. So you guys have blasted for us on your email. We will be taking an application or applications to each school, to the offices. Some of the teachers are incredible about getting us students. I remember their names specifically, but I won't say it. And just remember that just a little bit of effort, you could really change a person's life by just giving them this handout. They're very specific on the handout. It has to be on one page when you turn it in. Even if you photocopy it, it has to be a one page. So any help you can give us would be greatly appreciated. And if we'll get you the flyer if you let us blast it.
If you can give it to Alma, then we can also put it on our websites.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else, Alma, while I was looking at that? Item number 2, consent agenda items. A1, payroll and expense vouchers. A, B, and C. Mr. Lindeman,
I move to approve the consent agenda items as listed.
is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any discussion, members of the board? Any clarification?
No, I do need to remove item D from the agenda before
Well,
we go on.
well, let's finish with the
Okay.
expense vouchers, if you don't mind, please. Any questions regarding the expense vouchers or roll call?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Now, Ms. Samaniego.
So I need to remove item D from the agenda, please, before we move forward.
Okay, we're gonna remove that without any objection from any members of the board. Okay, we're gonna remove that item, and that's D, discussion action on the approval of certified retirement, just to be specific.
Yes.
Item 3, action items, discussion action on the approval of certified hires. Ms. Samaniego?
Yes. As presented, our certified hires, you will see a lot of employees being recommended for the 21st century teaching coordinator positions, substitute teachers, also our Douglas High School credit recovery. You have an school counselor being recommended, and then emergency substitute teachers that just become part of our pool for subbing.
Mr. Lindeman?
Move to approve the certified hires.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Smith, any discussion? When you hire those people for 21st century, is there any formal procedure you go through interviewing, or do you just
Yes,
randomly approve them?
they do submit a letter of interest in order for them to, and if you see there is, the principals are involved in
Right.
that selection.
Got it. Any further discussion, board members? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item B, discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego?
As presented, you'll see a lot of the same positions as before, and including some ESS instructional aides and reading interventionists.
Let's get a motion on the floor.
Move to approve the classified hires.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Discussion. Anything you want to point out specifically?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item C, discussion action on the approval of classified transfer. That's for information only.
No, it's actually for approval because there is change in pay, employee being recommended, I'm transferring an employee from grounds to the maintenance worker position, and so there is an increase in pay.
Did you mention what the pay was?
Yes,
In the background?
1640, yeah.
Very good. All right, Mr. Lindeman,
Move to approve the classified transfer.
is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any further discussion?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item E, discussion action on the approval of classified resignations and retirement. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, I do want to acknowledge, in addition to the resignations, one retirement, Beatriz Iniguez, instructional aide at Douglas High School. So I want to thank her for her years of service. And her retirement is at the end of 2025.
Mr. Lindeman, can I get a motion to approve that?
I move to approve the classified resignations and retirement.
Second.
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item F, discussion action on the approval of addendum. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, all of these addendums are based on our approved supplemental pay or addenda pay for Paul Huber and all Rayburn Middle School different associations.
Mr. Lindeman,
Move to approve the addendums.
is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Discussion, board members. Questions? The folklorico sponsor, is that that's an ongoing program, right?
Yes, Ms. Gemma Herman.
Okay, got it. All right. Further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item G, discussion action on the approval of athletic addendums for middle school. Ms. Samaniego.
These are all the middle school addendas as presented per the salary schedule. And this is in itself our feeder program. And I know we talked last week about not having a feeder program, but we're trying to do that through our middle school sports.
Well, of course, I know it's more than a feeder.
Yes.
It's actually for students.
Mhm.
Mr. Lindeman,
I move to approve the athletic addendums for middle schools.
is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. And I'll clarify that statement I made. Of course, we want to have a feeder program because if we're going to have any success
Yeah.
at the high school, we need that. But first and foremost, it's for the
kids.
students' activity. Members of the board, go ahead, Mr. Lindeman.
I had a quick question. Do we have all of the coaches available for the middle schools that need the?
I don't want to say yes or no, because this is what so far the principals have been able to present for approval. So they may be missing a couple that they may bring at a later date.
Okay.
Remember last year, our BMS had a hard time, and so we opened it up all over the district, so anybody can apply to be a coach.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item H, discussion action on the approval of volunteers, Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, you have 2 volunteers, one for Paul Huber Middle School volleyball and one for Douglas High School golf, and you have the background information, and HR has reviewed their application.
Mr. Lindeman,
Move to approve the volunteers.
second
Second.
by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? You know, by the way, speaking of the volunteers, again, that was a great presentation we had last week at the study session. That was a lot of good information we got, volunteers being one, and we can be assured now that it's being carefully looked at and it's adequately serving a purpose. Any further discussion regarding that? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item I, discussion action on the approval of student observers, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, these are college, coaches' college education students and for their education classes, and these are future teachers, just approving their observation hours.
Motion on the floor.
Move to approve the student observers.
Second
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any discussion, board members? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item J, discussion action on the approval of donations received for Douglas Unified School District Number 27, Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, we have 2 donations, $4,238.56 from the Arizona State Prison Complex going out to Douglas High School Athletics Program, and a donation of 100 backpacks and school supplies from Elks Lodge to DUSD elementary students, estimated value of $1,690.
Mr. Lindemann.
Move to approve the donations.
Second
Second.
by Mr. Smith. You know, I always ask the same question. Did that $4,238 come from the inmates?
Yes,
Can you imagine the time it took to get that amount
money, yes.
for them to give that to the school? And of course, I know we always do, Mr. Soto, you always write a letter.
We
but-
do.
But that's a significant amount of money. to
Yes,
them.
it is.
So we're very appreciative of that. Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item K, discussion action on the approval of retention stipends for certified staff from ESSER 3 funding, Ms. Samaniego.
So before, as presented, you have a list of 5 employees. So this is not a new stipend that we're giving out, but these 5 members were inadvertently left out from the first list as presented. So I'm just bringing them back to the board, and the information is the same as was
Mr.
provided.
Lindemann.
I move to approve the certified staff ESSER
Is there a
funding.
second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item L, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2025 capital plan submittal to the Arizona School Facilities Board. Ms. Samaniego or Mr. Soto?
Mr. Soto.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an annual report that we have to submit to the School Facilities Board, and it's basically just letting them know if there's any, square footage addition or, reduction, things like that. We consulted with them, and at this point, we're still working on that, and since it's not being a final completion on the addition to the high school, this report doesn't reflect that square footage, but next year hopefully is gonna have that in the report, and also the increase in square footage at the DECA store, which is considered an instructional, like a classroom. But again, since it's not finished, we're gonna wait for next year to include that on that report. But it's just a report that we have to do annually.
Mr.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any further discussion, board
I-
members?
I have a question. When you say that it doesn't include the new construction yet, so we are thinking that the old cafeteria is still a cafeteria according to the report.
Yes. we still have the square footage
Okay.
for that old cafeteria, and we're still gonna continue having it unless we decide to, let's just say, demolish it, or things like that. One thing I forgot to mention is we also have that square footage of the ELC, but it's noted that it's being leased for so many years. But once that sale goes through, then that square footage is not gonna be counted as part of the DUSD anymore.
One more question. Does the report, for the sake of the report, does that include like a commons area or the parking lots or anything like that, or just buildings?
It includes everything, but the school facilities board makes that distinction in terms of, okay, this is counted as instructional square footage or non-instructional. The parking lots, of course, they're non-instructional. Portables are not even considered square footage for the school district. So if we have portables, they're not counted in our favor or against us per se. But they want to have an inventory of everything, and they make those determinations, what's instructional and what's not instructional.
So this also includes the aquatic center and the ball fields and things like that?
No. The football field, I mean, we have us fields and we have the baseball fields, yes. The aquatic center is not, because it's not our building. We own the land, but we don't own the building. In terms of the athletic fields, they're counted because, again, we have the AGA with the city to utilize the baseball field, and we maintain it, so it's counted as part of Douglas High School.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burring?
Yes, item M, discussion action on the approval of revised non-CDL driver position and job description. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, you have the information, so my recommendation is to approve, and it's as presented. If you know, and we had long discussions about our driver credentials in order to transport in our vans, in our 15-passenger vans. So now that we've purchased the minibuses, our non-CDL drivers, which were our van drivers, can now drive those minibuses to and from school, and count. The miles will now be counted in our favor, because as of now, those miles have not been counted because of the CDL driver, requirements. So you have the job description there. The position, you will be approving the job description position, which will be paid at category 7 on the classified salary schedule with the base pay of $17.
Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second
Second.
by Mr. Smith. Further discussion?
I have some questions. Are these gonna be new hires that you're going to?
No. So right now, I am not even bringing people to you. I'm just approving the job description. And so we have three van drivers that will be transferred into that position, probably if we have a special board meeting at a later date. So right now, I'm asking for approval of the position.
Okay, and part of that I was gonna ask, are there any, like, CDLs who are gonna be moving down into that, or is any?
No.
Not gonna be losing any
No.
CDLs to
No,
it, or-
because our bus drivers have a different, they have to have a Class B bus driver's, CDL license, and this one is different at a lower
And
requirement.
those minibuses, can they be used at, like, taking kids to the sports trips
Yes.
and so forth? Okay,
Yes.
just
So
wanted to
now
make sure I
They can have more
understood.
people to drive those.
Okay.
Anybody else, board members?
No, I was just gonna say, I see more and more through the county. I've been on the road a little bit lately, and I see the little buses everywhere, the white ones.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yep.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burring?
Yes, item N, discussion action on the approval of revised certified administrative transfer of Mrs. Maria Trinta to Douglas High School Assistant Principal, Athletic Director, presented at the July 12, 2024 special board meeting. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, this is as presented, and the reason it's revised is because if you see your background information, Mrs. Trinta did come from the Impact Program, and while they finished their master's program in May, They still have to apply to their certificate, they have to take a test, and so that takes a little bit of time. So Mrs. Trinta's revised contract is being presented as of the August 27th for an amount of $66,088.80, which will be prorated based on the August 27th date. Prior to that, she was being compensated as a substitute rate under those duties.
Get a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burring?
Yes, item O, discussion action on the approval of revised certified internal transfer of Ms. Jessica Castillo from school improvement specialist to teacher on special assignment at RBMS as presented at the August 6, 2024 regular meeting. Ms. Samaniego.
Again, this is a very similar situation. I had presented Mrs. Jessica Castillo, and for just clarity and clarification on her duties, she is being transferred into a teacher on special assignment pending her certification. And so when her certification posts, I will bring her back for a revised contract under the assistant principal.
And this is all in compliance and allowable
Yes.
by the AD, right?
Yes.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Alcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burring?
Yes, item 4, information items. Ms. Samaniego.
Again, just a reminder, we have our parent-teacher conferences, and these are extremely important. It's midpoint of our quarter. On Thursday, early release will be on Thursday and Friday, and our next regular board meeting on October the 1st. And may the Bulldogs win.
Nicole? Hi. Any observations regarding anything was said here today from your vantage point?
Just from anything that like occurred in this meeting? Well, I would just like to, well, in the presentation about AI and that, they mentioned VRs. And I did want to mention that this summer I got to go to the ASU and I got to experience using VRs for education. And it was honestly very impactful, and it made me eager to like learn more, and just I was so impressed by like what I was seeing. Like I was a biologist exploring dinosaurs. Like that's not something that you get to do every day, you know. And it was pretty cool. I got to experience this with one of my best friends, and like I'm pretty sure that if she had a say in this, like she'd say as well that it really sparked interest, and it just opened up like a new door. And
Yeah. Can you explain to the board what a VR is without having to show a picture?
so
they know.
So it's kind of like the 3D thing they were mentioning. It's a headset, and this VR specifically, it had like you were seated on a chair, and like this chair like it moved with the experience, and it also had like these I guess hand gears you could say, and you could interact with like the dinosaurs. Like it'd be like take samples of the dinosaur to figure out what's wrong with the dinosaur, you know. And obviously there's no dinosaurs right now, but like it was just to kind of like engage us. So there was other VRs that like had to do with like Indiana Jones and like small things like that, and it was just really cool being able to have that, and it excites me to think that there's a possibility for our schools to have that. And yeah, it's very expensive, but students will be engaged. Students will be more excited to come to school. And just overall, I think it would have a great impact on DHS students and just.
Okay, thank you for that information. That came under announcements. She was announcing announcement. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
We got a motion on the floor. Does it have anything to do with adjournment? Just of what she said? All right. I don't think anybody would say it's a violation of the open meeting law, because after all, it was a student, right?
It's her student.
No, so, I mean, I was very happy and pleased with my teaching staff. They're amazing, and they brought a lot of learning here for you today. And just to follow up with what Nicole said, And actually, Ms. Rojo has already brought it to my attention, so Cesar, it's gonna be coming your way soon. So you know, now in this day and age, it's not about computer labs. So now transitioning into VR labs. So that's something that we want to bring to Douglas High School. Ms. Rojo is super excited about it, as you can tell. And she's not here anymore. So now that Nicole just mentioned it, it's something that we definitely want to bring, especially with having the extra space in our new building to actually provide 1 or maybe 2 new VR labs. That would be amazing. So just a heads up, Cesar, that would be a topic of conversation coming for the future.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, and that was hitchhiking on her comments. And we give all kinds of special privileges to students who are on here, so I hope there's no problem with that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.